Welcome to Theories of Crime and Justice. Today we'll discuss classical criminology. In classical criminology, the idea is that crime is a result of a rational decision-making process. Beccaria believed individuals weigh the benefits and consequences of their actions before committing a crime, suggesting that a well-structured legal system can deter criminal behavior. Jeremy Bentham, a contemporary of Beccaria, was a jurist and philosopher who advocated for utilitarianism and justice. He opposed the death penalty, emphasizing reform and the greater good. Classical criminologists like Cesare Beccaria and Jeremy Bentham focused on the idea of rational choice and free will. They claimed that individuals are capable of making reasoned decisions and that they weigh the consequences of their actions, including the potential for legal punishment before acting. That is, individuals have the rational capacity to choose between right and wrong. This perspective argues that people are rational beings who can choose whether to commit a crime based on a cost-benefit analysis. In contrast, deterministic theories in criminology suggest that individual behavior, including criminal actions, is determined by factors beyond their control. These factors could be biological, psychological, sociological, or environmental. For example, biological determinism would argue that genetic and physiological attributes predispose individuals to certain behaviors. Psychological determinism would point to personality traits or developmental experiences that shape one's propensity for criminal behavior. Sociological determinism would emphasize the role of social structures, cultural norms, and economic conditions in influencing individual behavior. Environmental determinism would look at how physical and geographical environments impact the likelihood of criminal activity. Deterministic theories generally argue that people have limited control over their actions because their behavior is the result of complex interactions between various external and internal forces. In contrast, the concept of free will maintains that individuals always have the capacity to choose differently, regardless of these factors. The expected utility principle from economics aligns with this. The expected utility principle is a fundamental concept from economics, arguing that individuals make decisions by comparing the expected benefits, or utilities, with the potential costs or risks associated with their actions. When making a choice, people attempt to maximize their utility, meaning they aim for the outcome that provides the greatest benefit or satisfaction. Deterrence theory, deeply rooted in the works of Beccaria and Bentham, argues that the fear of punishment can prevent crime. It's about finding the balance in punishment, enough to deter, but not to oppress. The three pillars of deterrence are celerity, certainty, and severity. Beccaria and Bentham emphasize that punishment must be prompt, that's celerity, likely, that's certainty, and proportional, that's severity, to be effective. Deterrence theory is a fundamental aspect of classical criminology. It's based on the premise that individuals can be discouraged from committing crimes if the consequences or punishments are perceived as unpleasant enough to outweigh the benefits of the criminal act. The balance that deterrence theory seeks is crucial. It's not just about imposing harsh penalties, but about creating a just system where the punishments are public, foreseeable, and sufficient enough to outweigh the perceived benefits of criminal behavior. It's a system designed not to oppress, but to create a disincentive for crime that respects individual rights and the social contract. This balance is meant to maintain social order and protect citizens while also upholding humane values. Let's talk about different kinds of deterrence. General deterrence aims to discourage society from committing crimes by punishing individuals as examples. The underlying rationale is that when people see or hear about the consequences meted out for crimes, they themselves are dissuaded from committing similar acts due to the fear of suffering the same fate. For general deterrence to be effective, the punishment must be known to the public. This can be through publicized court cases, media reports, or through direct observation. The visibility of punishment reinforces the link between criminal behavior and consequences in the public's mind. While the punishment should be severe enough to act as a deterrent, classical theorists like Beccaria emphasize that it must also be proportional to the crime to maintain moral credibility and legal justice. Overly harsh punishments can undermine respect for the law and can be counterproductive. Consistent application of the law and its consequences is important. If the legal system is inconsistent, the deterrent effect is weakened because people may gamble on the chance of escaping punishment. General deterrence works on the psychological level. It relies on the fear of punishment to influence behavior, rather than on rational evaluation of the costs and benefits of a particular crime. Examples of general deterrence include things like traffic laws. The use of speeding tickets and fines serves as a general deterrent. The purpose is not just to punish the speeder, but to signal to all drivers that speeding will be penalized, thereby encouraging them to adhere to speed limits. Likewise, high-profile criminal cases can act as a general deterrent. When individuals are punished for high-profile crimes, and these punishments are given significant media attention, it serves as a warning to society about the risks of engaging in such behavior. General deterrence is therefore not solely about the individual who's being punished. It is equally, if not more, about the indirect effect of that punishment on others. It's based on the idea that the fear of punishment, rather than punishment itself, is what helps maintain social order and compliance with the law. Now, perceptual deterrence, on the other hand, focuses on an individual's perception of the likelihood and severity of punishment. Perceptual deterrence emphasizes an individual's subjective interpretation of the risks and consequences associated with criminal behavior. It differs from general deterrence, which is about the objective presence and application of legal penalties, by focusing on the personal beliefs and attitudes that an individual holds about the deterrence system. An example of perceptual deterrence could be drug use. An individual's decision to use drugs might be less influenced by the actual severity of drug laws and more by their perception of how many people get caught and what happens to them when they do. White-collar crime can also be an example of perceptual deterrence. A corporate executive's decision to engage in insider trading may be deterred more by the perception of recent crackdowns and high-profile arrests than by the specific statutes on the books. Perceptual deterrence suggests that the effectiveness of the criminal justice system's ability to deter crime is not just a matter of how it operates in reality, but also how it is perceived by potential offenders. It underscores the importance of shaping public perception to align with the objectives of the legal system. If people believe that crime leads to negative consequences, they are less likely to engage in such behavior, even if the actual risk of punishment is low. Both of these differ from absolute deterrence. This is the idea that crime is deterred not necessarily by the severity or certainty of punishment, but by the mere presence of a legal framework that can impose sanctions for criminal behavior. So think of absolute deterrence as the crime prevention effect of having laws and a justice system. It's not about the severity or the swiftness of punishment, but the mere existence of a legal framework that discourages crime. However, maybe it's not all about deterrence. Greg Pogarski argued that there are acute conformists, people who obey laws purely out of a sense of morality or personal ethics. They adhere to legal and social norms because they believe in the inherent rightness of those norms, not primarily out of a fear of punishment or legal consequences. This behavior is motivated more by internal moral compasses than by external deterrents, like the threat of punishment. They don't need the fear of punishment to comply. They do so because they believe it is inherently right. Now, rational choice theory, routine activities theory, and shock incarceration represent modern evolutions of classical criminology, each adding new dimensions to our understanding of criminal behavior and its prevention. So, rational choice theory further develops the notion of the decision-making process involved in engaging in criminal behavior. It argues that offenders commit crimes based on a conscious choice where they weigh the potential risks and rewards before proceeding with their actions. According to rational choice theory, individuals are rational actors who make decisions based on cost-benefit analyses. The decision to commit a crime is a result of a careful thought process considering the likelihood of gain versus the risk of loss. This theory claims that the opportunity to commit a crime plays a significant role in the decision-making process. So even if someone is inclined to commit a crime, they may not do so if the opportunity is not present. Offenders consider both the immediate and future benefits like financial gain, social status, or personal satisfaction, and costs like getting caught, facing punishment, or experiencing guilt. Rational choice theory distinguishes between offense-specific factors, circumstances particular to the crime, such as the time and place, and offender-specific factors, which are personal to the individual, such as their skill, motives, and fears. Rational choice theory implies that crime can be deterred by increasing the perceived costs, so through enhanced security measures, stricter enforcement, or greater penalties, or by reducing the potential benefits, like by making it harder to sell stolen goods. Rational choice theory has evolved from the classical foundation by incorporating a more nuanced understanding of human behavior. It acknowledges the variability in how different individuals evaluate risks and rewards. This modern version also takes into account a broader range of factors that influence decision-making, including emotional states, peer influences, and situational contexts. Critiques of rational choice theory argue that it may oversimplify the complexity of human decision-making and ignore the fact that not all criminal behavior is the result of a careful cost-benefit analysis. Some criminal acts are impulsive or influenced by factors such as addiction, mental illness, or extreme emotional states that do not align with this notion of rational choice. However, despite these critiques, rational choice theory remains a significant and influential perspective in criminology, contributing to the development of crime prevention strategies and criminal justice policies. It underscores the importance of understanding the reasoning behind criminal behavior to effectively prevent and control it. Now, Lawrence E. Cohen and Marcus Felson's routine activities theory, developed in the late 1970s, is another modern take on classical criminology. It sees crime not simply as a matter of individual choice and disposition, but as a function of daily patterns and behaviors. Cohen and Felson identified three critical elements that must converge in space and time for a crime to occur: a likely offender, a suitable target, and the absence of a capable guardian. Crimes are more likely to happen when a motivated criminal has easy access to a target that is not adequately protected. A likely offender is an individual who has both the inclination and the ability to commit a crime. This theory recognizes that not everyone possesses these characteristics. Thus, the presence of a likely offender is not a constant. A target's suitability is determined by several factors, including its value, portability, visibility, and accessibility. High-value items that can be easily transported, seen, and accessed are more likely to be stolen. Capable guardianship involves any mechanism that serves to protect potential targets. Guardians can be formal, such as police or security guards, or informal, like community members, or even physical barriers that prevent or discourage crime. Cohen and Felsen argued that shifts in societal patterns, like increased numbers of single-person households or more people working outside the home, changed the routine activities that structure daily life, thereby affecting the presence of these three elements. An offshoot of this theory is the emphasis on situational crime prevention, which seeks to reduce the opportunity for crime by increasing the effort and risks associated with committing the crime and reducing the rewards. This could include measures like better street lighting, the use of CCTV, or the design of buildings to eliminate dark corners and hiding places. Classical criminology emphasizes the decision-making process of the offender, and routine activities theory complements this by focusing on the contexts within which crime occurs. It shifts the focus from the distant and often unpredictable aspects of punishment to the more immediate and often more manageable aspects of crime opportunities. Routine activities theory has been influential in understanding patterns of crime in different contexts, particularly as it relates to the timing and location of criminal acts. It helps explain why certain areas have higher crime rates and why crime can fluctuate with changes in daily patterns, such as during holidays or community events when the routine activities of potential victims and guardians are altered. It underscores the importance of environmental and situational factors in crime prevention, providing a framework for policies and practices that aim to disrupt the convergence of offenders with potential targets. Another modern iteration of classical criminology is shock incarceration. Shock incarceration is a form of sentencing that aims to deter future criminal behavior through a brief but intense exposure to the prison environment. It's a concept that evolved from classical criminology, particularly deterrence theory, and represents a modern approach to crime prevention and criminal justice reform. The idea behind shock incarceration is to give offenders, especially first-time and non-violent offenders, a taste of prison life, which is presumed to be so unpleasant and jarring that it shocks them into leading a law-abiding life thereafter. This short-term imprisonment is often followed by probation or parole, with the intention of rehabilitating the offender and preventing recidivism. This program is designed to serve as a deterrent. By providing an immediate and intense experience of incarceration, it's expected to deter individuals from future criminal activity due to fear of returning to prison for a longer term. Many shock incarceration programs include educational and vocational training, substance abuse treatment, and other rehabilitative services, with the goal of addressing some of the underlying issues that may contribute to criminal behavior. Since these programs are shorter in duration compared to standard sentences, they can potentially reduce long-term incarceration rates and their associated costs. Shock incarceration reflects the classical criminology principles of celerity and severity, with the expectation that the swiftness and harshness of the experience will have a lasting impact on behavior. However, it also incorporates more modern understandings of rehabilitation, aiming not just to punish, but to offer a chance for transformation and reintegration into society. So that's it for today. Stay curious, keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.